10. Consider the rectangular prisms below. So we have two rectangular prisms. It says, enter the volume of the rectangular prisms in the boxes below. So we need to find the volume. So our volume for each of these, and students need to know this formula, volume equals length times width times height. So we're going to have that for both of them. And of course, that means it's going to be in cubic units. So cubic units, which we write as units third power, because we have three things that we're multiplying to get our answer. So for this, we would have volume equals length, 8 inches, width, and we can use these pretty much interchangeably. So we're multiplying, so multiplying is commutative. So we can just write down all three. And then we're going to multiply 8 times 3 times 5, and inches times inches times inches. So on here, I can do these in any order. I'm actually going to do 8 times 5 first, because that's 40 times 3. And then inches written 3 times is inches cubed. And now that I have 40 times 3, I can do 3 times 4 is 12 and add the 0. I get 120 inches cubed. Okay. Now, to do the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. So length, and here we have some fractions. So we have, first of all, 2 and 2/3. So we have 2 and 2/3. And I'm automatically going to know it's going to be inches cubed. So I'm not going to write that in this time. 2 and 2/3 times 3 and 1/2 times 6. So we have three different dimensions here. So we write three numbers down. Now to multiply this, we're going to have to make improper fractions. We can do our backwards C. 2 cut into 3 pieces is 6, plus 2 more is 8. So that's 8/3 times 3 cut into 2 pieces each gives us 6 pieces, plus 1 more is 7. And the size of the piece is still halves. And this one is 6 pieces over 1. Any number is that number over 1. So now we're going to go ahead and multiply. Now before I multiply, I'm actually going to go ahead and simplify. 6 and 3 can cross cancel. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So now I have the 8 and the 2. Those are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I multiply the numerators across and the denominators. So 4 times 7 is 28 times 2, which we might not know what that is. But if we do 2 times 4, 8. 8 times 7 is 56. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And anything over 1 is itself. So that's 56. And this is volume. It has to be cubic units. So it's 56 inches cubed. So that gives us our first part. Now for our next part, they're telling us small cubes with the size of a ½ inch are placed inside the prism. Write the number of cubes that would fit into the box. So we know, for instance, that this is going to take 120 cubes. Okay? So we're just going to take a look up here. So we know that if we have a cube, okay, and we're going to take this and we're going to make smaller cubes that are half the size. So that means instead of going all the way across, we're only going to go halfway across. So I'm going to cut that in half that way. And it's only going to go halfway across this way. I'll cut this in half. Then I'll cut this in half this way. And this in half this way. And the same up here. So now we can see what we really have is a total of 1, 2, and there are 2 more behind it, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can see 4 on the top, so there's 4 on the bottom. So each big cube that we have equals 8 small cubes. So all we're simply going to do is multiply this by 8 to get our next answer. So 8 times 0, 8 times 2 is 16, carry a 1. We can keep that in our head. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So it's 920 of the cubes. Okay. Now for this, we're also going to multiply by 8, because each cube, once again, has 8 small cubes inside. So 6 times 8 is 48. Carry that 4. 8 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 is 44. So that's 448 cubes that go inside these. So once again, length times width times height. And make sure you convert fractions into, mixed numbers into fractions. And then to make it into the number of cubes, you're going to have to multiply it times 8.